Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode corporate filings. Think of us as the financial statement whisperers, except instead of horses, we're dealing with, well, you'll see. Let's just say this company's universal approach might need a little refocusing. In this video, we're diving into focus on at the meeting fast so you know what they're voting on, what they're going to focus on at the meeting. This report's purpose is to get shareholders on board with some key decisions. We'll see what the company wants to change, and I'll give you my take on whether it's a good idea. It includes everything from electing directors, choosing an auditor, to expanding their stock options. Focus Universal, incorporated in Nevada, will hold their annual shareholders meeting in June of 2025, and a couple of questions will be asked of the shareholders. For starters, they'll need to elect members to their board of directors, ratify the company's choice of Weinberg & Company as their accounting firm, and get the shareholders to approve amendments to their articles of incorporation, which we'll get to in a bit. Here's the big thing Focus Universal wants to change. They want more shares. More specifically, they want to increase the number of authorized shares of their common stock from 15 million to 25 million. Basically, they want the option to sell a lot more stock if they need to. The proposal needs the backing of a majority of shares voting at the annual meeting to pass. Why do they need more shares? The company states this move is for greater flexibility in the future, for things such as raising capital, strategic transactions like mergers and acquisitions, partnerships and joint ventures. They may also offer stock options and other things which the report notes would enhance shareholder value. In another big move, Focus Universal also seeks authorization to issue 5 million shares of preferred stock. Similar to the common stock proposal, this one is also subject to the board of directors' discretion and needs a majority vote to pass. Basically, preferred stock has a higher claim on assets and earnings than common stock. In other words, they have to be paid first. What's the reasoning behind this preferred stock proposal? Well, it's for similar reasons as increasing common stock, future financing, strategic transactions, and general corporate transactions. It gives Focus Universal the flexibility to secure funding or strike deals when the opportunity arises. Switching gears, shareholders will also be voting to elect 5 members to the board of directors, all of whom are already serving on the board. These are Dr. Daeshang Wang, who's the CEO and secretary, Dr. Edward Lee, who's the chairman, and independent directors Michael Pope, Karen Clark, and Sean Warren. The election requires a simple plurality, meaning the nominees with the most votes win. Now, I know you all are dying to know about the diversity matrix, so let's get it out of the way. The board is mostly male and lacks much diversity in its ethnicity, so room for improvement. Michael Pope, Karen Clark, and Sean Warren are deemed independent, which is generally a good thing, meaning they don't have financial ties to the company besides their board compensation and are more likely to act in the best interest of the shareholders. How's the top brass getting paid? The named executive officers for 2024 were Dr. Daeshang Wang, the CEO, and Irving Cao, the CFO. A summary compensation table shows how the executive officers got paid in 2024 and 2023, compared side by side. Jumping into those figures, we see Dr. Wang's total compensation in 2024 was around $170,000, while Mr. Cao, the CFO, made about $24,000. There's a small increase from stock and option awards for Dr. Wang, but overall, it looks like base salaries make up the bulk of the compensation here. This section highlights any transactions where the company does business with insiders, like executives or major shareholders. The big thing here is loans. One with Golden Sunrise Investment, which had shareholders that own 19% of Focus Universal's stock at the time of the loan. There's also a loan agreement with the CEO Daeshang Wang. It is noteworthy, however, that the principal and interest were paid off on July 9, 2024. Another item to note is the company's sale of 430,000 shares of common stock in a private placement, raising $129 million. As it turns out, the CEO and chairman each bought 100,000 shares personally, investing $300,000 each. Moving on to accounting fees, Weinberg & Company, PA, the company's auditor, billed about $170,000 in audit fees for 2023. This mainly covers the cost of auditing their financial statements. I was waiting to get here. Let's dive into the pay versus performance table. This is the main interesting part. We are looking at compensation for the past 3 fiscal years. The dollar amounts represented by CAP do not reflect the actual amount of compensation earned or received. We see that for 2024, total shareholder return was 23.49, 38.42 thousand, 28 cents net income was 6323. The total shareholder of 38, going back 1 year for 22. There isn't a lot to talk about here other than the fact that the total shareholder return was 325, or the net income was much lower, being kin 471, 18, 11, 42. There isn't a lot to talk about here other than the fact that the total shareholder return is not good. However, the years have seen negative net income. I am going to talk about this section as well because while the numbers don't seem very convincing so far, maybe the company has some plans. Looking at the goals of executive compensation, it appears to be designed to incentivize our executives to drive growth and long-term shareholder value. Here are some of the key performance measures used to determine compensation. 1. On-time filing of quarterly and year-end financials. 2. Increase of sales or accounts receivable over 20% on a quarter-over-quarter basis. 3. Huzzah of mergers or acquisitions. So what's the overall vibe here? The board is urging shareholders to vote yes on all the proposals, basically rubber stamping their plans, while some initiatives like potentially authorizing preferred stock could offer flexibility. They also raise questions about future dilution and control. Looking at the big picture, Focus Universal seems to be at a point where they're trying to gather resources and expand their possibilities. Whether those possibilities lead to something concrete remains to be seen. That's all for this corporate decoder deep dive. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like, comment and subscribe for more takes on corporate filings and financial analysis. I will see you next time.